As I said, I'd like to thank you all for being here, and we are all here because of what's happening in Boronia. Inappropriate developments. We don't want three-storey buildings blocking our sunshine, stopping us from growing our veggies in the garden, etc, etc. It's just not good enough. We've been here for many, many years. We've made this place what it is, and it's just not okay from developers to just put up what they want and consider architecturally okay when it's not. We've got people, real estate agents in Richmond, selling properties in Boronia. That to me is just absolutely ludicrous. Now we're here today because of the signs. We've been putting up these signs protesting about what's happening in Boronia about these three-storey developments. Our world is full of signs, street signs, advertising signs, so why can't we put up our signs? We're not being violent about it, we're just putting them up peacefully in protest to what's happening in Boronia. Unfortunately, Knox City Council doesn't think that's okay because a number of us, including myself, have been asked to remove these signs, and if we don't, we're going to we're going to be fined $600 a day, up to a maximum of $120,000. Now we find this really difficult.
They're running scared.
Perhaps they are, and I'll tell you why in a minute. We've been asked to talk to council tomorrow, a number of us, so we find it really odd that we've been asked to talk at council and yet we're not allowed to have these signs. What I think is the reason behind us not being able to have these signs is because people realise how ugly Boronia is going to become when you look behind me and see what they're proposing for this beautiful area. No wonder they're running scared and asking us to remove the signs, because Boronia is going to become so ugly with these concrete boxes which supposedly have architectural merit. Now I don't know about you, but I can't see any architectural merit in putting a box up next to a beautiful single-storey or double-storey home with a gable roof and then cramming a lot of people in there. Is it architecturally merited, or is it just a grab for money?
It's profiteering.
Money.
Let's get the sign out the front.
Now the fact that council continually asks us to remove the signs is a sign in itself, okay? We've had signs ripped down in the middle of the night by don't know whom, and they've damaged fences. They've gone on to private property to do this. Now that to me is absolutely not okay behaviour. We have done nothing wrong by silently protesting in the way that we are. Now, if anybody has not yet had a sign up in their yard and would like one of these beautifully crafted signs by Mike and Carey, please go and see them. You'll have a week to have it up at the threat of $600 thereafter per day if you don't remove it. So anyone who'd like a sign, I've already used up my week, but if anyone would like a sign, please come and see Carey and John and you'll be able to get a sign for your yard. Thank you.
What about politicians' election posters? Why shouldn't they be banned if ours are banned?
Darls, if you want to have a talk, this is really...
Oh, no. Go for it.
If there's anybody else who'd like to say something through the megaphone, please come up and feel free to do so. We're all married in this, we're all together. We want to see Boronia become a more beautiful place than what it is right now, but these sorts of buildings are not going to do it for us. Anyone who'd like to speak through the megaphone and have a word, please do so.
I find it strange that we can get all this advertising signage for carbon reduction and then they go ahead and build carbon monsters. I find it very strange. We see all sorts of other things. We see for sale signs, signs selling these multi-storey apartments. Why aren't they being removed? Why aren't they paying $600 a day?
And continue to register your protest by coming along to the next council meeting. I was absolutely appalled that they were not going to open up the petitions in which the members in the gallery sat, and that we wouldn't even be able to see the councillors. I was absolutely disgusted. I just could not believe it. We are human beings and we deserve to have dignity and respect shown to us. The council isn't here because, in spite of us, they're here for us, and they need to show a little bit more respect towards what they're doing to us. Thank you.
Yeah.
Keep writing those letters to all of the councillors. Don't stop at Peter Cole, John Mortimer. Write to them all. We need their vote on September the 27th. We don't want three-storey in Boronia. Keep writing. Don't stop. Include Heidi Victoria and Nick Wakeling on your joy list. Make sure that they hear how unhappy you are about all this. They say it may or may not be up to Matthew Guy, but just, I tell you what, just keep on writing those letters to all of them. Let them know how you feel. Don't stop what's been put in motion and keep the wheels turning. Turn them harder, faster and smarter.
I'd just like to make one comment. These people are our servants. Yes. We elect the councillors. They're supposed to do our bidding. What are they doing? Allegedly, they seem to be profiteering. Allegedly. Okay?
We pay their wages.
Exactly. So rather than just blindly accept what they say, stand up. I'm not going to take it anymore, guys. Sort yourselves out. There are strength in numbers. One or two lone individuals are not going to work. If you get a fair income group going, they're going to get terribly worried, and we just might get a positive result rather than just fed little bits of nonsense. Oh yes, we'll do this and we'll do that. From what I understand, they're giving us promises and backing down. 1 minute they're inviting us to come and have a cup of tea with the councillors at a reasonable hour. The next they're shooing us away and providing 20 seats for a gallery of 200 odd people.
I think your dog wants to get on the microphone.
What do you reckon, Kat?
I think so too.
What does everybody feel about being fined about these signs? Wrong.
Last comment, a drover's dog could do better
The laws
than this council.
Yeah, I still say that.
Okay? Go for it, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say one thing. Matthew Guy wrote a letter to the council on the 26th of July authorising them to set a 7.5 metre limit with consultation with the public. And to date, the council, in my opinion, hasn't carried out a proper democratic consultation with the public. The whole thing's been kept under wraps, and most of the people that I've spoken to with this petition, 3,250 people signed, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, didn't have a clue, and I needed a tape record because when I explained what was going to happen around here, they couldn't sign it quick enough. Thank you.
We need a referendum.
Yeah, Mr. Ken Burns is right. A lot of you people didn't even know what was happening, like myself, until I had a three-storey proposal next to me. And that's when I thought, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? All of my winter sunlight's going to be blocked. I've got two little boys. I don't want them to live in darkness. And so the ball started getting rolling, or that's not the right expression, but doesn't matter. Anyway, this is how a lot of you have started to find out about what's happening in Boronia. Not the efforts from the council in the first public consultation meeting, but from the efforts of the appropriate development group for Boronia, going out weekend after weekend, dropping letters and flyers and things in letter boxes, standing outside of Kmart and saying exactly what would happen. Nothing was said in layman's terms. It was said in such a way that was gobbledygook, and you wouldn't really be able to understand what it was. At least you're all here today because you now know, and you're putting up a fight. It's a great fight because people have been listening. The fact that Matthew Guy has gotten involved, that Ted Value sent a letter out from his office. People are listening, and we've got to make them continue to listen. This is not the time to slack off our efforts at all. We've got to keep up the pressure. Lady has a question.
Oh, why is it that a lot of units and things started to go up before they sent out a diagram showing where these units were going to be? They sent out a diagram marked with all around Boronia, but the units and things started going up well before they sent the mapping.
The lady just said, why is it there are so many units being put up before the maps and things have come out for the areas? We think that perhaps it was developers and in consultation with real estate agents who've known where the properties are that have become available. We can't afford a home in Boronia anymore because developers are competing with each other to actually purchase these properties so they can maximise profits by putting these boxes up there and squeezing in as many apartments as possible onto these small blocks. In places like Parkville and Carlton, they have one home per 200 square metres, and in Boronia it's getting up to about one home in 78, 80 square metres. I mean, this is just not right to cram so many smaller places out 30 kilometres from Melbourne. It's just ludicrous.
This developer for 55, aren't they based down along, is it Chelsea or somewhere? Why are they building in Boronia when they're based in...
That's what I'd like to know.
I would just like to say a friend of mine has battled breast cancer. She's battled breast cancer, and now she's battling developers that are on the side, both sides of her house. All she wants is a bit of sunlight in her kitchen. I don't think she's asking too much. I really don't. I'm here today because I'm so proud of her fighting for her life, and now she's fighting for a bit of sunlight. It's just not right. It's just not right what they're doing. It's just not.
Bottom line, if council was serious and honest, they'd entertain open dialogue with us. They wouldn't hide from cameras and tape recorders. They'd stand up and be counted and be on the record. They won't do this.
Their silence is deafening.
Go on, Chev, will you read the paper?
I've been asked to remind everyone that council elections are next year. pass on that joy as well.
The councillors that we elect don't really, it's run by the bureaucrats in the council, the departments, as far as I see it anyway. I don't think the councillors have much say as to what goes on.
This is actually a good point. It's just been mentioned here that it's not actually the council things within Knox, it's actually the top heavy management. This isn't the first time I've heard it, and it's from people that are perhaps a little bit more in the know that have mentioned this. But here we have a resident who's saying this. Perhaps there are other residents who believe or feel the same thing.
Yes.
The council vote on it, they're our voice, and they should be strong enough to stand up and be counted. We voted them into our voice, and they're not.
Let them know. Write them a letter and let them know that you believe that perhaps Knox City Council is top management heavy, and that councillors have been elected by us. They are our voice, and they need to be strong enough to stand up to those people and say what the residents want.
Last word, sorry. It's interesting that Peter Cole appears to be sympathetic to our cause, and yet he's getting attacked by other councillors and other people in the media. That is pathetic.
It was interesting that the person representing the developer for 55 got the copy of the finalised C62 papers before the council or the engineering department got it. Also, 30 days later on the August meeting, council still hadn't received it. So how come developers are getting priority copies of approved building regulations that are not coming through to the actual councils who are supposed to be approving them for more than a month after? Is it the engineering and building departments that are holding these things back, or are the councillors being overloaded with things to keep them diverted from the reality? I think we need an investigation.